Okay, people. So you have to know the behind the scenes of what's been going on. So we've had some technical difficulties, and anyone who knows me knows I don't like tech. This is very scary for me. But thank God, thank you to our team and Rabbi Josh and Meg who jumped in. Okay. Everyone loves a montage. End of school year, montage. Camp reunion, montage. Bar bat mitzvah, montage. It's almost impossible not to love a good montage. It is a visual walk down memory lane. Quite often, it reminds you of all the places you have been, all the experiences you have had, all the friends in your life, and how good you looked every single time you thought you looked awful. If you have ever attempted to make a montage, you know how hard it is to narrow down the number of pictures that you can actually use. After having made 2 in 2 years, basically that's like asking me to remove my own appendix. Why though? They're just pictures. Or are they? That's the thing, they aren't just pictures, they are memories. They are the highlights that you want to see again, the times you want to relive, and the feelings you want to bring up. Montages are so powerful because they fulfill the phrase, my entire life just flashed before my eyes without needing to have the near-death experience. Today on Rosh Hashanah, whether we realize it or not, we are meant to play the montage of our lives in our heads and hearts and share it with the most important audience, God. We are supposed to review the snapshots of the year and ask ourselves, is this a real representation of my life? Or am I creatively editing things out that I don't want to see? I bet you didn't know that God made a montage thousands of years ago. Yes, it's true. The Torah is the montage that God made for us. But God did something we don't often do. God kept in the bad stuff, the ugly stuff, the stuff that most of us would take out and we would think that God would not want to preserve. Unlike our selection of carefully curated pictures we show, God kept everything in the Torah, and there's a good reason. Let's break it down. The beginning, fantastic! The story of creation. God creates beautiful skies and land, oceans and birds, fish, all kinds of animals. It was perfection. Then the crown jewel of creation, humankind. Man and woman are beautiful reflections of God's image. God placed them in the Garden of Eden, literal paradise. But then, oops, Adam and Eve disobey God's one rule and get thrown out of the Garden of Eden. But still, stories in the Torah. Then we meet Noah, a righteous man in his generation. We learn the cute story of the ark, the adorable animals coming 2 by 2. But the truth is, Noah's story is one of extreme consequences for bad behavior, like real final consequences. God decides to wipe out every living thing on the earth except for Noah and his family and those particular animals, and there is nothing cute about it. And you all thought having your Wi-Fi shut off for an hour was a bad thing. Nope. Next, by the time we get to the Israelites leaving Egypt, we assume that they are hanging on Moses' every word. We are taught that their behavior was picture perfect. Nope. The Israelites are actually, well, whiny. They whine a lot. I mean, this is a more accurate depiction of what happened than what we read in the Torah. I'm bored, she's looking at me, it's like she's breathing on me. They basically drive Moses insane. God insisted on keeping their complaining in the Torah too. The whining, crying, screaming pictures of our kids that don't make it into our montages 99% of the time. So why did God keep them in the Torah? Surely God could have deleted these unsightly images. My best guess is because that's where the learning happens. When everything is literally picture perfect, we don't grow, we don't change, and typically it's not the real picture of what's actually happening. When cameras had film, You couldn't just delete the photos where no one is looking, one child is trying to escape. The challenge of family pictures is a tale as old as time or as old as the Torah. In the Torah, the good and the bad sit right next to each other, often only separated by a few verses. For us, they're only separated by the click of a shutter. This is one of my favorite pictures of my children. This was 2 seconds earlier. I want to tell you, they are both on our wall. This is one of my favorite pictures ever. God knows that we need the whole truth, the whole story, all the pictures, in order to be reminded over and over again what good behavior is and what not so good behavior is. But Rosh Hashanah is a real-life reminder. When we eat apples and honey, we are trying to remind ourselves of the good stuff and hope that the good stuff follows us into the next year. And it will. But right along with the good stuff, as our Torah teaches, is the difficult stuff that we encountered and the difficulties that will inevitably come in the year to come. And we can't edit those out. We cannot remove bad behavior with a click of a button or erase mistakes with a digital eraser. It's not real life. What we want to keep and what we choose to delete are both important teachers, and Rosh Hashanah makes us face both. We are not serving ourselves when we only remember and learn from the times that made us laugh and smile. Sometimes the real growth happens when we look at the awkward family photos and ask ourselves, why was no one cooperating? Why couldn't anyone just take one for the team and get their acts together? We might even realize that the bad stuff wasn't so bad, and we owe someone an apology, or perhaps even more important, without something difficult having happened, we might not be in the good place we are today. Rosh Hashanah is begging us to acknowledge that life is not meant to be airbrushed, edited, or filtered. If we are lucky, the montages of our lives have people cracking up and provide us with really good stories about why everyone was forced to wear the same thing that no one should ever wear, ever, let alone matching with your family, ever. I chose to use these pictures from one of my favorite Instagram handles because it's hilarious and also because of the name, Awkward Family Photos. Do you notice they're old? This came from a time when you had to be selective about what picture you took because film was limited and expensive. And what would this world be without a pile of kids all doing something different? They're crying, they're laughing, you know someone's throwing up in the back, everyone's looking in the wrong direction. It's pure gold. I, for one, am so grateful that these images were saved. If there were digital cameras then, we might never have been blessed with this awkwardness. From Rosh Hashanah onward, don't delete the awkward, slightly unpleasant, or unbearable parts of life. Face the bad outfits, the poor behavior, and smile when the pictures bring you back this kind of joy. How many of you have this one? Everyone has this one, right? Go into 5786 knowing that you're doing just what God did in the Torah, preserving the good, the bad, and the ugly sweater. I promise you, when you come back in a year from now, we will all be better off, and no doubt have a much more realistic and hilarious camera roll. Take it from me, can you imagine only seeing this? And not this? Shana Tova, may you have a sweet and wonderful and hilarious camera roll.